Good Monday morning, August 1st. E8 is in the back of the enclosure. Looks like they moved the pool closer to the elbow of the enclosure and turned it the other way. I'm not sure. E8's in the back. On the perch by the box. Good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. One of the ceiling lights is shining on the monitor screen. That's what that yellow is there. Here comes somebody to visit. Maybe gonna put something to eat in there. Trying to get the area as natural as possible, it looks like. Looks like a Christmas tree, doesn't it?
Analyze that data and use it to help improve the health and welfare of wildlife, not just in Florida, but everywhere. Towards that end, we collaborate.
Need to be a little bit taller. There we go.
NOAA, Sandoval Captiva Conservation Foundation.
E8 still as can be.
We can educate students through a number of different venues. First, we provide on-site training to two veterans. In support of its patrons, PROS advances the health and welfare of wildlife in Florida and throughout the world through concepts.
Do you like it, E8? E8's still perched in the back quietly. He hasn't moved. What was that they put on your perch? Just greenery, I guess. There's the pool below. I'd have a little water in it. There's a little bird in the cage again. Huh. There he is. So they must fly in and out. Interesting.
We provide training to large body of students through a number of different venues. First, we'll provide on-site training to two veterinary interns and approximately 50 externs.
Still just perched on the little perch at the end of the box. Looking around a little bit.
We also teach other medical professionals through continuing education meetings and online courses. Finally, we
All of the snakes look exactly the same
perch.
to each other when they're little compared to when they're older. This is what a
When
juvenile
I
black
was
racehorse looks like. Now,
changing
what does that
my
look like?
view
The pygmy rattlesnake.
on the
So
high
sometimes
perch.
people like the venomous snake, and so people sometimes are scared of snakes.
That looks like a
This is the garter snake. The
Oh, we can see you a little
So you
better
look like
now.
this or like this. This is the largest indigenous snake, the largest native snake that we can have in
It's
the United
probably-
States. Average adult size can be 5 to 6 feet long. They can grow up to 8
Looking around
and
it,
8.5 feet long though.
That's an invasive species, so that's what you probably
Just sitting there.
same thing with the cane.
And they, in the wild, they live for about 1 to 2 years, so not too long. But in captivity, where they're more protected from predators and have more consistent diet, they'll live for 4 to 7 years. So this guy still has probably like another 5 or 6 years left in him. So he'll be around for a while. And their habitat and home range, they've lived, their original range was in mostly Central America and Southeast United States, but since the early 1900s, it's really expanded even to the West Coast, to California. They like to be up in the trees,
He
so
might fly a little
I'll talk
bit.
about a little bit about it later when we do behavior enrichment, but when we take them in, know any other marsupials?
Looking around.
Absolutely.
If he stays down here where we can see him, or if he goes up above
And
to
their
his
opossums
special
are
spot.
actually pretty great for the environment. I'll be touching a little bit, but marsupials, what makes a marsupial are that the females have these pouches in
down
them
to the
that the
parks.
babies live in. Reproduction, they gestate in the mom for 2 weeks.
And
they
up
come
on the
out,
perch.
and they go straight to the pouch. They'll leave and go adventure on their own and start their own life. So these are just some pictures. So
Maybe
this
cleaning
is
his
a
front.
great picture. You can see the pouch over here with all the pinky babies inside. So that's where they go very soon after birth. And on the bottom left is another example. It's actually one of our patients. And as I mentioned before, they're not predators.
To the
One of
perch.
their primary
Good
aspects that
sight.
help benefit the ecosystem are that they scavenge on carrion, which is decaying dead flesh. So that's one way that they really help the environment, is getting rid of the dead material. Cook them out, and they spread the seeds as they travel in the environment. That helps spread the seeds for the plants and actually helps put the seeds into fertilizer. Bald eagles, bobcats, foxes, even dogs, owls. And one thing about possums is that because they're so flexible in their diets, they've been able to adapt better to habitat destruction.
Preening
So
a little bit
habitat
more.
destruction being from like human development.
We don't get to
looking
see
down
a
at
preen
natural
very
habitat,
much.
building parking lots and new communities and developments for people to live in. So animals like these apex predators have had trouble adapting. So as I mentioned earlier, they have they also have a behavioral defense mechanism. If you've heard of playing possum or playing opossum, the past 3 weeks we've taken care of
Looking around
7
again.
of them, and babies have gotten a lot bigger, which is fantastic. But when patients first get here, regardless
Turning
of
on the
what happens
perch.
to them, whether they're hit by a car or attacked by like a raptor, we'll give them a number, and then we'll basically triage all of the patient with animals. We have cages. I'm sure once you take a tour, you'll be able to see that.
He's looking
And on the
up.
bottom right is an example of what diets look like for our
Going
possums.
up.
They eat kitten chow.
If you do, have a good day. If we don't see you
We have
again.
some fruits, vegetables.
Glad we got to see you move around a little bit.
Sometimes put in fish, we put in smelt.
And see your new greenery in your enclosure put in.
Just make sure that they're getting all the nutrients they need to recover. Is that Good Samaritans have called
Okay,
into
back to the
drop-off
box.
locations where our volunteers are able to go and pick them up and leave them to grow. And for intakes, we typically have intakes at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Looks
She has
like
good
you
prognosis.
enjoy your
Why
little
not?
perch on top of the box
They are going to stay
today.
alive, but they won't have any intensive
It's a
care
good
right
thing
now.
to do on the
Keep
first
the
day of
mom.
August, I
Whereas
think.
they're going to be orphaned soon. Just doing a physical exam with animals when they first come in really gives us an idea, even if we don't have a history, of what probably
Back to the high perch.
So as I mentioned, to help loosen up and build the mucus in the nasal passages. But we have surgical
Up
suite
above.
that
I
is
knew you'd
isolated
get there
and has
eventually.
the
Okay.
anesthesia machine to knock them down so that they don't
You
get pain.
enjoy
They're not conscious during the process.
doing what you want to do today. That looked like a feather
For the
dropping
smaller
down.
ones, for the orphans, that
Hope
sometimes
you
they come
catch
in,
something good
just as
today.
orphans, some people will find.
Bye-bye. Oh,
baby
there you
possums
are.
by themselves on the road,
You
in the
didn't
woods.
stay
They'll
long.
bring them in. And we have, that's actually where I am today, of feeding, depending on how old they are. And we assess how old they are based on their weights. We have this type of diet for this many times a day. So if, for example, if they're around possum formula, which is basically milk
And back to the box.
to feed them.
Yep.
But we do that about 5 times a day,
Box
so
to
every 2
perch.
hours or 2 to 3 hours.
To box
We'll generally
morning.
be over a 12-hour.
What kind of milk?
It's a special possum milk.
See if they'll fly the length of the cage. Nope, back to the perch. Oh, pretty.
Formula or anything like that, because it's a kitten food, kitten kibble that's been soaked in water, so it's easier to eat. And to help them transition from
And
formula
back up
to that,
to
we'll
the
sprinkle a little formula
place
milk
where
over
we
so
can't
they
see you.
eat it. Okay.
Looks like
But
it's gotten windier
we also
outside.
put, for the adults, we put diets in puzzles to try to get that to enrich them and keep them stimulated. Because they are scavengers and they're going to need to learn how to pick up branches, trees, leaves.
Come back.
We also have different environments.
Back down.
Get their natural instincts kicking in. So when we move them outside, we try to simulate the natural environment as much as possible. Of course, there are different ecosystems throughout Southwest Florida, so we have different habitats.
There he
You
is.
walk down back. There's a lot of different habitats that simulate
Good
different areas.
job. Glad we
In
didn't
Southwest
eat
Florida,
now.
habitats, there's obviously alligators don't live in the same place as raptors.
Okay, ye eight, I'm gonna go. Maybe you're eating back there. You've been back there a while. I'll be back to see you soon.